Hey everyone, Dr. Aaron Moreland here from Vallejo Health and Wellness Center. I've been talking in the last few videos about the Clearvite Cleanse that we have on sale. Again, it's $30 off at Vallejo this month, and love to have you guys do it with us this month. But the first thing I want to talk about today is really why you'd want to do a cleanse. We talked about it in a few videos ago. I talked about why it's important to do a cleanse to clean out the toxins that are in your body, to clean up your diet. But really, that's not the big reason why. Whenever I ask people, why do you want to be healthy, I'll hear lots of different responses from people saying, well, I want to be healthy because I want to look better, I want to feel better, I want to have more energy, I don't want to have pain. Those are all good things. And so don't get me wrong, it's good to have those as goals to why you want to be healthy, but why do you want to look better? Why do you want to feel better? Why do you want to have more energy? And why wouldn't you want to have pain? Really, digging deeper and figuring out what those big reasons why is really important, because when you figure out the reason why, like I want to have more energy because I want to be able to be there for my kids, I want to be able to at the end of the day come home and have fun with my kids and be able to go outside. I want to feel better, I don't want to have pain, so I'm not so crabby around coworkers or crabby around people, my family and such. And so really looking at those big reasons why, because if a person's why is not big enough, it's usually not going to overcome those struggles that they come across, like that ice cream in the freezer that's calling your name out. If you're just trying to get healthy so you can fit into those pair of pants you used to have, that you used to be able to fit in, it's not gonna cut it. You're gonna find that, oh, I can always buy new pants, I can always buy bigger pants. But when your why is more focused on, hey, if I don't have my health, I'm not going to be able to go on that mission trip that God's calling me to go on to, or whatever. So our why must be big enough. Okay, so that's one of the big reasons why I think a person should choose to do a cleanse, is the reason why. And so we look at some of the reasons why people fail. I think one of the reasons is that their why is not big enough. The other reason I think that people fail is because they just don't have a plan. And so with this Clearvite Cleanse that we have, there's a great plan attached to it. It makes it very simple. And so when people buy this Clearvite Cleanse, they're going to get a few things. One of the things that they're going to get is they're going to get the Clearvite powder. And so you'll see that it's Clearvite CLA. Now there's a few different types of Clearvite. This is the one we recommend the most because it's based off of a collagen protein powder. Okay, we do have other ones, so a Clearvite GL. The GL just means that it's grainless. So those are the people that are really sensitive, that can't eat any grains whatsoever, or they have to have certain proteins. And so the grainless is literally just amino acids. And so that could be what some of you may need to take, is the Clearvite GL. The other thing you're going to get with it is you're going to get Bilamin, or Biolin, however you want to pronounce it. But the Biolin, what it's doing is it's helping support your liver. And so just to go into science just a little bit, I don't want to overwhelm you with science, but just to go a little bit into the science of how we detox, our liver actually has 3 different phases of detox. And if you've done a detox in the past or a cleanse in the past and actually didn't do so well on it, it might be because you didn't support the other 2 phases. So you supported one phase of elimination, which basically gets the toxins out of the cells, but then you weren't able to eliminate it out of your body, and it just floated around causing all kinds of problems. So the Biolin, what it does, it helps your liver with that phase 2 and phase 3 so that you can get these toxins out of your cell, but then also get them out of your body. And so the other thing that helps with that is the metacrin. And so the metacrin, what it does is, again, supports the liver, and what it does is helps with phase 2 and phase 3 detox so that you can get that stuff actually out of your body. So the other thing that the cleanse is going to include is a brochure. And this is where the plan really comes into play, where this program really helps, is this brochure. And the brochure, what it does is it talks a little bit about why we should detox. Well, we've talked about that in the videos so far, in the videos I've done. And so I think most of us know why we'd want to detox. But the other thing it does is, if you open it up, it actually says all the foods that you should avoid and all the foods that you should eat while you're on this cleanse. So it makes it very simple. It's laid out. It's not going to list every food no on demand. So a lot of times we get a lot of questions about that. I'll get to that in a little bit about what do you do if it's not on the list to eat or it's not on the list to avoid. I'll explain that here in a second. But it talks about all the foods you should avoid, all the foods that you should eat. It also talks about when you should cut out meat, because one of the things with the Clearvite Cleanse is it is going to have you cut out meat for a 6-day period. And the reason why we do that is because what we're trying to do is we're trying to heal our gut throughout this process and give our gut a rest, give our digestive system a rest, and cutting out meat can definitely give it that rest. So it's going to lay out what you're doing each day and what foods you should and should not eat. So it lays that all out for you. The other thing it does is it does have some sample foods that you can eat, some sample meals. Now the key is that these are just samples. We've had people come into the office after a week into that cleanse and say, oh, I'm just so sick of eating those exact same meals. And they really thought that this was what they're supposed to eat the whole 21 days. And that's all this is just an idea of what your breakfast could look like, what your lunch could look like. It's not telling you that this is how you have to eat. And so that's what this brochure does. It does tell you also what it looks like if you're doing a 14-day versus a 21-day. We're encouraging people to do 21 days just because the longer you do it, the more toxins you clear out. So it does come with this brochure. The other thing it comes with is it comes with a journal. And in the journal, what it has is, first thing it goes over is just some of the frequently asked questions that people have about the cleanse. And so a lot of times if you're wondering a certain question, you go to this brochure, you'll actually find the answer to the question. If you don't know the answer, you're more than welcome to shoot us an email during this process that you're on. But the other thing that the journal does is it tells you exactly what you're supposed to be taking, what supplements you're supposed to take in that day, how many you're supposed to take, and then what we want you to do is write down, well, what did you have for breakfast? What did you have for lunch? What did you have for supper? If you had any snacks throughout, and then how did you feel? Because this is going to be important to look back at after the 21-day cleanse, because as you start to reintroduce foods, you'll be able to see what foods you found that gave you the most energy, where you felt the most health, where you felt the best. And so that's what the point of the journal is to just look at what you ate, how did you feel, and then also to answer any of the frequently asked questions that people have. And so that's what comes with the Clearvite Cleanse. Now, one thing I want to do in this video too is I want to help you guys to succeed. I think it never is fun to set a goal for yourself and then to fail and not feel good about yourself. I think that's why a lot of people have stopped making resolutions, is because they make a resolution and then maybe a few days or a few weeks or a few months into it, you find that you failed, and really you don't want to set another goal or another resolution for yourself because of it. And so what I want to do is I want to help you to succeed. I want to give you some tips that will allow you to succeed throughout this. So when we come back to the brochure and it talks about foods to avoid and foods to eat, I think that's where it can trip a lot of people up, is if it's not on the list, I don't know what to do. One of the things, the easiest thing to do, if it's not on the list, then I would say, well, just don't eat it then. Unless it's something that you absolutely have to eat, it's something in your body that your body really needs and does well if you're eating that. And so some examples of that might be, if you look on the foods to avoid and the foods to eat, it doesn't say whether you should eat nuts, okay? And so, but it does say in some of the samples that you can have almond butter. So you can eat nuts, but the key with nuts is they're good healthy fat, there's good protein. Now some nuts are higher in fat and some are higher in protein. During that time where you're cutting meat out of your diet, I would say you don't really want to eat the nuts that are really high in protein, like your almonds and such, because you're trying to give your body a rest during that time. But other thing you want to know with nuts is you don't want to eat nuts that are highly processed. So you don't want to eat nuts that are salted. You don't want to eat nuts that are roasted. You don't want to eat nuts that they say they have honey on them, because more than likely they've just put some type of syrup on it. And so you really want to avoid that. You want to eat nuts that are raw, okay, if you're going to eat nuts. And again, I would highly recommend shifting towards the nuts that are more high in fat, okay? So nuts is one. Another one is in the thing you'll see that you're not allowed to eat butter. Well, one thing that I would say is if you are going to eat butter, if you decide, you know what, I do fine with butter, then I would suggest that you eat probably the Kerrygold grass-fed butter, or another brand that does grass-fed butter, because you really want to make sure that you're avoiding food that has toxins. So again, grass-fed, but then also you'd want to make sure that it's organic, because you again are trying to avoid toxins. Toxins accumulate in fats, and so if you're eating butter that's not organic or not grass-fed, it's probably going to have some toxins in it. And so butter, if you want to do ghee, that's probably a better choice. Ghee is clarified butter, so they've purified the butter, so there's really no proteins at all. Most butter, though, especially Kerrygold, has gotten rid of all the proteins, so really you're just eating fat there anyways. Another one that they don't say on there, but for sure would be good, is avocados. And avocados, again, you want to shoot for organic, because you don't want to eat any of these toxins. But avocados is a great food to add to your diet if you're not already. If you already are, then you already know what it's like. You can add it to smoothies, because it's a great way to make smoothies thicker and give them that smoothie type of consistency. And so all the things I just mentioned were fats. And the reason why I mentioned those foods when I'm looking at foods that aren't on that list, or on the list to eat or the list to avoid, the reason I said fats, because I think during this cleanse you really want to make sure that you're eating lots of fat, because that'll help you to feel full. And I really believe that you really want to shift your body through this time of this 21-day cleanse. You want to shift your body from burning sugar for fuel to teaching it to burn fat for fuel. And there's a whole process on that. That's what ketogenic diets are like, and we're not going to get into that. But highly recommend that that's what you would do, is eat more fat in your diet. And so those are the foods that I would say, if they're not on the list, you could still add them to your list of foods that you can eat. Other thing you want to eat is you want to eat lots of food that has lots of colors in it. Okay, so that's your vegetables. Okay, not Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops is definitely not on the list. It has lots of colors, but I'm talking about vegetables. I'm talking about eating kale, broccoli, spinach, cabbages, carrots, so your oranges, your purples, your greens. So you really want to hit all those different colors when you are eating. Other thing that you can do that would help you to succeed is that you really want to plan ahead. And what we mean by that is go to the grocery store even before you start the cleanse and buy a lot of the food that you're going to eat throughout those 21 days. And then, say on a Sunday, come home and chop up those vegetables, put them in bags or little containers, so that when you on Monday morning go to work, you can just grab those out of the fridge very easily. It's very quick to do, and very convenient that when you're at work and you're feeling like you need to eat something, you can just grab that snack. You can get little containers of guacamole, you can get little containers of hummus. So those are things that you can bring with those veggies, so that you're not going to slip into, hey, I'm super hungry, I'm going to go over to the vending machine and grab something to eat. Because if you're not planning ahead, by the time you're hungry and you decide you want to cook something or prepare something, you're probably going to start looking at something very convenient. So plan ahead that way. Plan ahead by cooking multiple meals at one time. So Sunday you may cook 4 or 5 meals, so that the whole week, when you get home from work, all you have to do is put your food in the toaster oven, warm it up, and you've got your food prepared in like 10 minutes. So planning ahead is super important. The other thing I would say is planning ahead is before you even start the cleanse. In the cleanse, you'll notice that you can't take in caffeine, and you can't eat sugar. And so if you're addicted to that, or if you're finding, boy, I don't know if I can go without caffeine or sugar, this is what I would suggest. Over the next week or so, maybe even 2 weeks before you start the cleanse, I would start eliminating those foods, eliminating that caffeine, because if you don't, you may find that going cold turkey can be really tough. So you may want to gradually eliminate them. For some people, it's going to be, hey, I just got to stop doing it right now, go cold turkey, which is fine. You can do it that way. But for most of us, you'll want to prepare by starting to get rid of caffeine and sugar out of your diet maybe a week or two before you start the cleanse. Another thing that I think is really good at helping you succeed is to do smoothies. So I mentioned you can add an avocado to your smoothie, but you can put spinach, you can put kale, you can put in berries, protein powder, your Clearvite, you can throw that all in your smoothie and do that, especially for those that find that they don't have time for breakfast. Making a smoothie takes about 5 minutes in the morning, and then you can drink it on the way to work. And so smoothies is a great way to, one, very convenient, but two, you can add all kinds of different fruits, vegetables, and your protein powder, your Clearvite powder into that drink, and take it with you. So I would highly recommend doing smoothies. The other thing I would recommend is that, and maybe you do this already, I'm not sure, but don't eat after about 6 p.m. depending on what time you go to bed. So 6 p.m. is just kind of an arbitrary number. If you go to bed at midnight, more like don't eat after 8 p.m. So really try to have like 3 to 4 hours between your last meal and when you go to bed, because you really don't want your digestive system have to work when you're sleeping. You really want to go to bed and your body is digesting that food. It's already at least out of your stomach. So you really don't want to eat 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. So don't eat after 6 p.m. or, like I said, if you're staying up till midnight, then don't eat after 8 p.m. Other thing that would really help with success is having a community around you that's supporting you. So let other people know that, hey, I'm starting this cleanse. Could you help me? Could you be an accountability partner? Or even just letting them know so that they know, you know, other people know you're doing it. That alone can help a person be successful. And one way that you can do that is to actually join our contest this January through up to February 14th. What we're doing is anyone that decides to do a cleanse, it doesn't have to be this Clearvite Cleanse, although we do highly recommend this cleanse is the one to do. But if you're doing a cleanse, what we'd like to see you do is over the course of the cleanse that you're doing is throughout the week posting about 3 posts on your Facebook or your Instagram or whatever social media you're on. Post that on there that you're doing the cleanse, saying things about how the cleanse is going, maybe putting pictures of the food that you're eating or how you're feeling now that you're doing this cleanse. So as you go throughout the cleanse, just have to post on your social media and then tag Vallejo Health and Wellness Center in that so that you can share it on our Facebook, and then you'll be entered to win our contest. And what our contest is on February 14th, we're going to be doing a drawing where whoever did that throughout their cleanse will draw a name, and whatever name we draw out is going to win $100 in Costco cash. And so entering that contest does a few things for you. One is you're going to be letting everybody else around you know that you're doing a cleanse, and then 2, contests always make us more likely to finish the program. So those are just some of the success tips. There's obviously other ways to succeed. Actually, one other one that I really enjoy, and you can do this, you don't have to, but I think it's really good to get inspired throughout it, especially if you're feeling like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. I think one way to inspire us ourselves is to watch documentaries of people that have done cleanses. I think a great one is the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. Food Matters is a great one. It really shows you what eating bad food does to our bodies. And so watching these documentaries can be very inspirational and help us to get past those points where we're feeling like, oh, I don't know if I can do it, or those things in my pantry are calling out my name, those foods that I shouldn't be eating. And that's probably another thing to do during that planning ahead, is that you'd want to clean out your pantry. Get foods out of your house that you just know that if they're in my house and I'm tempted, I'm going to eat them. Get them out of your house. They don't need to be there, especially during this cleanse. You don't need that extra temptation. So watch movies, though, that inspire you. There's lots of great documentaries on Netflix. We actually have a subscription to Food Matters TV or FM TV. That's all they have is documentaries on how people are working with their health or the health industry, or why we shouldn't eat certain foods. It's just a great resource of great documentaries that help with health. So those are some success tips that I think if you do those, you're going to do really well throughout those 21 days or however long your cleanse is. So again, we're doing the Clearvite Cleanse promotion this month. That it's $30 off. If you're looking to clean up your diet, looking to get rid of those toxins, you're looking to deal with a health issue you're dealing with, or if you're just looking to stay healthy, highly recommend doing a cleanse. I'm going to be starting my cleanse here next week, and so I hope that you join me. Again, this is Dr. Aaron Moreland from Vallejo Health and Wellness Center, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. God bless.